We started Oaktree in '95. The neat thing is we did not have a budget. We didn't have a profit plan. Nobody ever said how much money we think we're going to make. What we said was, we've done a good job for the clients. If we can keep doing that, we'll have a success. Period. That was the whole discussion.
The mantra was put the clients first.
Yeah.
The client's interest always comes first. You know, that was the reputation we developed over time. Now, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Oaktree was your idea.
Yes.
You came to me
Yeah.
and asked me, hey, how would you feel? What motivated you, besides Nancy?
Well, you know,
His wife.
Yeah, my wife gave me a big kick in the pants. But the truth is, I think that we have positive reasons and negative reasons. I think the positive reason was that we thought we could do a good job for the clients. We wanted to have a firm that ran our way. When we were at TCW, we were one division of a company with 50 divisions, run 50 different ways. And, you know, aggressive, defensive, top-down, bottom-up, forecasting, agnostic, every which way. And you know, I had a senior position there, and I didn't want to shill for businesses I didn't believe in. And we had as you can see, we had a feeling for how money should be run, and we wanted to have an organization that ran that way. That was the positive reason, and of course we thought we could make money, because at TCW they got half the fees, and we didn't think, you know, in a business like Bruce's, we get 20% of the profits. And if there's a management fee, and they do the marketing, market support, and the accounting, and the legal, and the premises, and everything, okay, they get their percent of it. But if Bruce can turn $10 into 20, and you get a $2 carried interest on the profit, why should they get half of it? That's where they drew the line at half, so we left, and we thought we could make more money. So those were the positive reasons, and the negative reasons were that we wanted to become owners of that firm in a substantial way, and they didn't want to share that. So we went out and we did our own. But I want to tell everybody in this room something I think is really important. As Bruce says, I was the boss. And
I haven't said it in this group. Can I say my piece first and then let you talk?
Yeah, sure.
So you know, I was asked about, you know, my relationship with Howard, which is 30 years now. And I said, well, you know, he was my boss. He hired me. I said, but he was the world's greatest boss. I mean, just so constructive, optimistic, you know, always encouraging, and, you know, never, if I made a mistake, which of course everyone makes mistakes, would never get down on me for it. Just the world's greatest boss. And, you know, I would tap dance to work every day. That culture that, you know, he set and that we ultimately set together has permeated throughout Oaktree and has really, I think, created some real business success for us. But when he came to me and said, hey, how about being my partner and starting Oaktree? And you know, I said, sure, as long, you know, are we equal partners? He says, yeah.
Well, actually, the way I tell it,
yeah.
Bruce said to me, Bruce, he's not such a teddy bear as he seems. And I said, well, how about starting our own firm? And he said, sure, come with me with proposed economics. And I went to him. I thought it over for a couple of days, and I went to him and I said, look, here's what we do. I'll get 40%, you'll get 25%, and our other colleagues will split 35%. And Bruce said, no, we should be equal. And I thought about it for a minute, and I said, yeah, you're right. And that was the best decision I ever made. And, you know, if you can, and it's a great lesson for business, because there's a tendency for each person to want to keep more for themselves. But the truth is, that's not always the right decision. Our joint decision to be equal partners was the best decision that we ever made.
And the point I wanted to make is when he was my boss, and then when we were partners, we've enjoyed the same relationship throughout. It's been a joy, and I think it really has contributed greatly to the success of our enterprise. I mentioned that earlier that in 30 years, we've never had an argument. We have business disagreements, yeah, certainly, yeah. But never an argument.
And it's by hashing out our business disagreements that we get to better answers than either of us could come to by ourselves. But you know, this business is about keeping more for yourself. When we went out on the road to try to convince, we had $7 billion under management when we left TCW, and our hope was that we would bring it over. So we went around to the TCW clientele and we tried to win them over. And one of the questions they asked was, well, what is your attitude toward sharing the ownership of the firm with other employees? And I told them a story that I got from a kid's book when I was reading to my son that the sun and the wind are having an argument about which is more powerful, and they can't settle it. So they say, well, you see that guy walking along the mountain ridge? He's wearing a coat. Whichever of us can get the coat off that guy is the more powerful. So the wind blows and blows and blows and blows and blows. And the stronger it blows, the tighter the guy holds the coat. And then the sun shines his warming rays, and the guy takes the coat off. And it's really just an example that, I mean, business can be an incredibly positive place, and we've had an incredibly positive experience. And sharing and integrity and straightforwardness, and as Bruce says, putting the client first, makes it incredibly rewarding. And you know, we've been successful professionally and monetarily, but I think both of us would say that the greatest thing has been the opportunity to be successful on the high road.
Yeah. I guess when we started Oaktree, Howard wrote our investment philosophy and our business principles.
Yeah.
And sharing the fruits broadly was one of our key business principles. In fact, we were one of the very first of our type firm to really broaden the ownership of the equity. We did it after our first year in business.
Yeah. There were 5 of us who owned it when we started. At the end of the first year, we made that 18. 2 years later, we made it 26, and a few years after that, 35.
And I remember you saying at the time, I want to have less and less of a growing pie. And ultimately, that's what happened.
And that's how you make it grow, is by owning less and less. Now, on the other hand, remember I said, we were in Brinson's office, and I said,
in whose office?
Brinson.
Okay.
And I said, I'd like to see everybody in the firm.
No one can, it's being taped, no one will know.
Nobody will know. And I said, like them, I said, I want everybody in the firm to be an owner.
Yeah.
And Bruce said, no. He said, the people who can really make a difference should be an owner.
Yeah.
So from the beginning, we've had 25 to 30% of the people at Oaktree have been the owners. The day that we sold stock to outsiders, first through a private offering and then by going public, we had about 120 owners, as I recall. Mm-hmm. If you look at the other firms that went public early in the alternative investing business wave, they had 3 or 4 owners a couple of months before their IPOs. And I think that has made a big difference. We've had very low turnover. We have happy people, and we have camaraderie. And nobody is afraid of getting stabbed in the back. There's not a lot of currency in gossip. Everybody understands that team success produces success for them. And one thing I'm very proud of is we do not keep individual balance sheets. You know, there's this expression, you eat what you kill. And we don't care for that. And we don't say that this person made us 300 million and that person made us 400 million and that person made us 200 million. Let's pay them in proportion to their profits last year. We pay on the success of the company, the team, and the individual's contribution, not just quantitative, but qualitative also. Not just this year, but over the years and what we see for the future. And obviously we do it because we think we're right.
Culture meant so much to us when we were starting out Oaktree. You know, look, we had both made a lot of money at TCW. If we wanted to, we probably could have retired then and there. Yeah. But if we're going to build a firm, we want to, and we're going to work hard, and we're going to spend a lot of time there, we want to do it with people that we really like and respect it and enjoy their company. And we wanted to literally continue to tap dance into work every day. Yeah. That's something that we put a lot of time and effort into in the early days.
And in our business, there are a lot of people who are really smart and can make you a lot of money, and they're a pain in the ass to work with. And we've had a no, shall we say, no idiots policy.
Yeah.
And we stuck to that pretty well. And we there was a point in time where we had to part with somebody because we concluded that we had made a mistake under that policy. Yeah. And we did it, and boy, the organization loved it. Because they said this is we really put our money where our mouth is, and this was an individual who was making us a lot of money, but we concluded that it was wrong for the culture.
Can I come back to something I mentioned? I mentioned that Howard penned the investment philosophy of Oaktree and the business principles, day one, which I'm not sure we've changed a word of in 20, almost 22 years now.